Welcome to another edition of the Red Raider Preview Show, the show where passion meets pride and Red Raider football takes center stage. Tonight, we've got an action-packed lineup as head coach John Ritter joins Brent Collins and John Godwin from the Decatur Red Raider locker room. We'll break it all down, starting with last week's clash against a powerhouse, the Muscle Shoals Trojans. The Raiders left it all on the field, showing grit, determination, and flashes of greatness that prove this team is built to fight to the very end. But now, the focus shifts. The energy in the city is building. The hallways are buzzing. Because this week, it's not just another game, but it's a Hartselle week. The rivalry runs deep, and the stakes couldn't be higher as your Decatur Red Raiders prepare to travel to J.P. Kane Stadium to face the Tigers under the lights. When these two longtime rivals collide, it's about pride in the program, respect on the field, and proving who owns Friday night in North Alabama. So buckle up, Raider Nation. Get ready for insight, analysis, and all the excitement you crave. This is the Red Raider Preview Show, and it starts right now.
Welcome to the Red Raider Preview Show with Coach John Ritter, John Godwin, Brent Collins.
You're breaking out some old school today, aren't you?
I'm trying to conjure up some old school. This shirt right here was from, I think, the first year I broadcast. 1997 or 6, something like that. I thought, well,
so it doesn't go. It's not old school like back when you played.
No.
And what your game day shirt was?
Well, this wasn't like it. I don't think we had a game day shirt back then.
You wore your jersey.
No, I tell you what we did though is we shut up. As Kenny Cole would make us shut up. We go up to the library and sit in the library, and everybody just. Anyway, I know it's different now, but Coach, I know this is difficult to do, but let's just talk about Russell. Oh, not Russell.
Russell.
Yeah, you want to talk about
Lord, Muscle.
Muscle.
I thought we played hard. Effort was never questioned. And that I guess that's the frustrating thing about the game is I thought we played hard. But eventually playing hard's not going to be good enough. And obviously Friday night it was not good enough to keep them out of the end zone or to get us in there. But.
Well, first play, we fumbled the ball, and they take it in. And, I mean, it's just like that's about the thing you don't want to do the most.
Yeah, that was not a hot start.
Especially,
and we talked about it last week, they're good. They're really good. That's one of the premier teams in the North right there in 6A, and you cannot mess around with it. And turnovers, lead to points against anybody, but much less a really good team. And, I thought first half offensively we moved the ball. We got first down here, first down here, first down there, and then we'd stall. First down penalty, stall. And it just goes back to, doing the same thing over and over. Their two defensive ends will be the best that we see all year long. They had a safety going to Arkansas. And so when you start taking into account the players that they have, you can't have penalties. You can't have turnovers. And, unfortunately we did.
Well, I was watching last night. I think it was on ESPN somewhere, but they followed LSU in the last couple of games. And Brian Kelly was standing up in front of his team going, guys, we got to focus because what we have to do is put one play on top of another play on top of another play. Good, building on those kind of things. Same thing that you're saying.
Absolutely.
That we're not doing. We'll have good plays, and yet we'll follow them up or they'll be bookended by bad plays.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know how you get over that hump.
We haven't changed the way we approach things as far as, we're still, the way we practice builds on each other. And, our practice schedule hadn't changed. It's tried and true. It's worked in a lot of different places, a lot of different offenses, and it's about hammering the details. And, the focus is a huge part of that, and when you lose focus on any phase of the ball, we had a punt block because we had two guys not blocked down after we made a down call. Here again, that's 9 out of 11 doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Unfortunately, the two that didn't, their assignment of getting blown led to a blocked punt. Welcome to high school football. Welcome to coaching high school kids. And that's the frustrating part that keeps you up at night, or keeps me up at night, is, when are we going to take the next step?
Well, I have a lot of people will come up to me and ask me, about team. And, it's probably, I keep telling myself, we're not good enough athletically, probably with Muscle Shoals. We have to play almost a perfect game
I agree with that.
to be in there with them.
100%.
And when we don't come close to coming to a perfect game, then you could end up with a result.
Yeah, you get exposed.
Well, and one thing I noticed, and maybe we talked about it, I saw it up close in person. You talked about their defensive end being the best you'll see all year, their safety going to Arkansas. I mean, you can't coach 6'5", 230. Their receivers, I mean, there were a couple times they went across the middle against our defensive backs at maybe 5'10", and it's hard to coach against that. I mean, you got to give it up for Muscle Shoals, like you said. They're the premier. That's the best team I've seen in a while.
Yeah,
I mean,
top to bottom, left to right. And exactly what you said. We gave up a post across the middle, and a 6'5" guy caught it over a 5'6" guy.
5'6", yeah.
You can do all the coaching and work, and I thought his technique was perfect. He was right where he was supposed to be, and threw it over his head. And that's frustrating. For a guy to do a job and not get the results he wants, because that's not a great matchup. And that's not a good matchup on any planet.
but I will say this. I agree with you 100%. There was not any giving up.
Well,
And it could very well be. Tank didn't just go on in, but we didn't do that.
yeah, we challenged them at halftime, and really before the game too. Who cares the circumstances? If you let the circumstances dictate how you play, we're never going to be successful here. Because of exactly what you talked about with players, but even a good player that doesn't play hard, kind of useless.
So that being the first place you coached at for 4 years, obviously Basin was there. A lot of their assistant coaches still there from when you were there? Or?
There was some. It was probably about 40% of the staff still there. And then he's added some guys, that played for us. Zach Mize, Seth Woods, played for me while I was there. And they're on their staff now. Matt Borch, who was the head coach at Wilson, who I've known for years, is on their staff now. So, it was a good mixture of guys that I'd known through coaching, known through, being a Lauderdale County guy, and obviously working with a lot of those guys.
That'll be interesting for the rest of the year to see how they do. I would imagine they could go deep in the playoffs.
I guess putting all the pressure on them, I don't think they get deep. They should win the table and be 9-0, and then make a strong run to the playoffs. And physically they're better than I thought. Jasper was good. Very dynamic offensively, but from a physicality standpoint, top to bottom, left to right, that's the best team in our region. And we got them and Hartselle's going to be a war. I think Hartselle's got the 5th ranked defense. Muscle Shoals got the 4th. So really the best two. I'd like to get that field and watch that one.
Which I guess is a good segue into our game.
Well, was there we come out of that game with any injuries or anything? We good?
Casey Justice was a little beat up. Devin Haley's a little beat up. They practiced this week. That's part of 5-game stretch, 4-game stretch.
I was shaking my head. No, I was disagreeing.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
until a North Alabama school goes down there and wins the championship, don't talk to me about it. Because we get to first round, second round, somebody might get to a third round. But, when's the last time we had a 6A or a top category team go down and win the national state championship? It might even be the catering set could have been. I mean, look back in the
You got a point there, but anyway.
But they are good. They're good.
They're good. And one thing that I took away from what you said last week was there is a roadmap to how, which you've done it at each of your stops, but they're a roadmap of success. and they weren't there when base you got there. So hats off to what they've done, the facilities they put in place. So let's turn the page on that one, Coach.
Absolutely.
So segue into the Hartselle game. Where's their record coming into this game? Were they undefeated?
4-0.
4-0.
Yeah, they played some really powerhouses.
Yeah. Who have they played?
Well, they played Jackson-Ola. They played Columbia. They played Allstate.
What about like a Brookwood or something like that? Did they play out there? Yeah, that may have been Jasper. But so you've unfolded the film that you got today. What do you expect to see from Hartselle on Friday night?
Same thing that you've seen for X amount of years. I mean, they do exactly what they're coached to do. They play really hard. Defensively, they give you problems with what they do. A lot of stemming, a lot of movement, bringing people from everywhere. Coach Cole does a really, really good job defensively. Offensively, it's kind of the same thing. Coach Lane's been their offense coordinator for a couple of years. He does a phenomenal job. The thing about Hartselle, like them, love them, hate them, whatever, they're solid. They do what they're coached to do. And, they will take average players that do what they're supposed to do and play above average. And then they're above average players. They do what they're supposed to do. So it makes them great players, and that's what we want to do here. We want our guys to do what they're coached to do regardless of the circumstances, and do it at a real high level. Right now they're the poster child for that because they do an excellent job in executing their game plan.
So their head coach is his second year coming in behind Brian Moore. He was a coordinator on Hartselle's team previously, right?
Yeah.
And then he left for a year, and when
What's the best day and then came back.
That's right.
And then it was the defense coordinator before they did the head coach.
Okay. So what's your past relationship with him? Have you crossed paths with him before?
Yeah, we played him. We played him obviously last year, but then we played him when I was at Russell and he was the defense coordinator. When Coach Moore was there. So, we played the last 3 years. Just coaching Tree. Coach Newton's dad was the famous Bob Newton, who was from Russell. And so we've had that connection. Not only Coach Newton, but his brother, who's the head coach at Pelham. Had a great relationship with him. He was at Auburn as player development or personnel or something for years and years and years. So know the Newton family well.
So you talk about nostalgia, John. You brought the old shirt up, but I know you're going to love the fact that we get to go play on real grass Friday night.
Well,
Is this the only time that might happen this year?
Oh, yeah.
yes, yeah.
Well, next 3 road games: Hartselle, grass, Milton Frank, turf. Now the new Hunt Park, Joe Davis, is that turf or is that?
We're playing there?
Grass, yeah. We play at Joe Davis against my Genesis.
Yeah. So is there a difference in cleats that our guys will have to? I mean, is there anything different?
No, the only difference is the crown. You gotta get used to playing with a crown on the field because obviously it affects, throwing from the center to the edge. But outside of that, I mean, it's all the same. Turf, it cuts just like grass does. You cut your feet out from under you cut off the wrong foot, you're gonna fall out here, just like you will over real grass.
I think that's one of the things that you just talked about with Hartselle. They are consistent. I think that word always comes up when I just remember past Hartselle teams. Even the ones that weren't very good, they had kids that would do what they're supposed to do. And they always seem to be smaller, but they get to the ball just me. It's just me kind of.
Well, play. They're where they're supposed to be, and there's a lot to be said for that. When we were at Russell, we played them 2020, 2021. Same thing. They were where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to be doing. And when you get anybody doing that, you have an opportunity to make plays.
And, they have had, I think, a good string of quarterbacks the last 10 years. So like the next guy up almost was better than the guy there before, and they had some uphill.
Absolutely.
Young man there now, I can't remember what his name is.
Carter Lake.
Carter Lake, but he's a good little
Yeah,
player.
solid. You know, he's a good player. He's a hard runner. You know, he gets the ball to their guys in space. You know, and Hartselle, what I respect about Hartselle is they do what they do. You know, on offense, defense, you know, they're solid in the kicking game. You know, and it's nothing that's extravagant, but it's solid.
Was there anything that they do that is different from the other things, or they just it's more or less the same thing? Even more five elsewhere.
No, I mean, you know, they're foot to foot. They're big up front. You know, they've been, you know, I guess the first 4 teams we've had have been, you know, they get splits. You know, where this group, you'll see them, they're in there, it's foot to foot. You know, they got a big tall, rangy H-back that, you know, adds a 3-man surplus to, you know, to one side or the other. They'll play with a tight end and an H-back, you know, and it really kind of limits the penetration. You know, you got to be really solid in taking on double teams because of what they do.
Let me ask you this: you know, our schedule is front end loaded. I mean, our first matches are murder. The Hartselle, on the other hand, it's not that way. They're back here. Does playing Columbia help you any way in knowing how to game plan these guys?
No, yes and no. I mean, because it helps us establish some tendencies because they still did some base stuff. You know, and obviously they did some things that were maybe a little bit out of character too. But, you know, we take the film that we get and we break them down and you know, we put our game plan together based off what we've seen, not necessarily who they play.
Well, we've had the common opponent in Austin.
Well, if you took last year's film of Hartselle, would it be any different than this year?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, I think the nuts and bolts are the same. You know, obviously having a different quarterback makes you different. You know, having different people in different roles, you know, they do a great job of playing to their strengths, you know, and so while yes, you know, the overall schematics of what they do is very similar, you know, every year is going to be different with every team based off who their Jimmies and Joes are.
But they're not coming in with the wholesale different.
Oh, absolutely, that's right. I mean, it's what they've done through years and years.
What we got to do?
We got to take care of the ball. You know, we cannot turn the ball over. We can't have, you know, silly mistakes in the kicking game, and we got to be consistent on defense from the standpoint of do whatever our gap responsibility is. We got to be in that gap, you know, and then when we get there, we got to make tackles. And you know, we're not asking guys to be Superman. We're asking them to be, you know, consistent and focused on whatever their job is on that particular play. You know, and then the other thing is when we do make a mistake, plus, you know, we can't compound problems. You know, and we got to stack good plays on top of each other. And when we do have a negative play, because it's going to happen, it's got to be flushed and we got to start over immediately.
Right. Try to limit those things.
Absolutely.
No, not on the first play of the game.
Yeah, we need to get through the first play without a fumble.
So we're going to do a little research, do a little family tree history with the Ritter family. But interesting enough for me and my family, I found that we are probably some from England, maybe some from Irish, descended in the 1600s in Indiana. We were Union soldiers in the Civil War. I knew something was wrong with you. And then we settled in Lawrence County, home place, and then grew up at Trinity. But anyway, been in North Alabama for 4 generations now. But I don't know that you've done that family tree study, but let's take it back to where you're from, your grandparents, maybe even did you know your great grandparents, and you know, ultimately let's bring it to your family you have here in Decatur now. So
yeah, you know, my whole family's from Rogersville. My great grandparents, grandparents, great grandparents are all from Rogersville. You know, really grew up. Lauderdale County is where obviously I went to school. It's where my dad coached. You know, but my family's very entrenched there. My mom's mom was a lunchroom lady. My dad's mom was the bookkeeper at the high school for years and years. My dad's granddaddy worked on the boiler and drove a school bus. My dad's grandmother worked in the cafeteria as well. And so, the Ritter and Grissom family has been entrenched in Lauderdale County for, a long time. My mom taught preschool there in Rogersford, a local church, before she retired and started doing something else. And so, we grew up very much Rogersville through and through.
And it still holds true because I think your dad and mom have the little corner house right there, turn into the school maybe, or
No,
down the road.
Got in between First and Second Creek. Same house we moved into in 1992 when we, left Decatur. We stayed in a rental for 1 year, and then they ended up buying that house that I grew up in. My sister grew up in. Our first cousin or second cousin, Curtis. He was the quarterback, broke his hands, so now he's playing free safety there. At Lauderdale County.
Cast
with a cast on. He's a pretty good player.
Ritter grit in it, doesn't
Yeah, that's what's expected. You got to be tough. And, here again, there's been somebody, a Ritter associated with Lauderdale County football for a really long time.
Tell us about that work ethic of your relatives.
Yeah, that blue
How that
collar.
influenced you?
Yeah, it's blue collar. You were expected to work hard. Both of my grandparents had farms or had gardens, and so I grew up working in the garden. My dad's dad had a farm that he kept bush hogs, not really animal farm, but just big plot of land.
Did they put a hoe in your hand and cut weeds under the?
Yeah, one of my earliest memories, my mom's dad, he used to plant potatoes, and so we spent the 4th of July picking potatoes, and so that's just kind of, obviously my dad being the head coach at Lauderdale County, my mom, hard work is just something that's been instilled in me since I was a little kid.
So how many years did Ronnie coach Lauderdale County?
17.
And he left Decatur to go to Lauderdale County?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So what would a family reunion look like? Or do you guys have family reunions back in Lauderdale County?
Oh, yeah, Stan.
What does that look like?
A lot of wiffle ball in the yard, a lot of touch football in the yard, on both sides, the Grissom side and the Ritter side. It's a very competitive family. It's a very active, sports related, on both sides. On the Ritter side, all of my cousins, we all played together. Jeremy was a little bit older than us, but Justin and I played together for his last 2 years. And then on the Grissom side as well, a lot of boys and a lot of athletes on both sides that like to play. And then the girls are athletic as well. My sister's probably the most athletic person in our family.
Okay.
Yeah. She
Older or young?
younger. She's 5 years younger. She played point guard on the basketball team, played center field, softball, and then
Lauderdale County? Didn't they have some really, really good girls basketball?
she won the state championship, I think, as a senior. And
She got a ring and you don't.
yeah, she was probably just the better athlete of the two.
And so I'm sure Lincoln and Lillian get right in there on those.
Lincoln for sure. Lillian, it's mixed bag. It depends on, she's our dancer and singer and theatrical person. And she's all up involved in that. That was one of the beautiful things about moving to Decatur is, the Dreamweavers and the Roxy and all that. The opportunities that she has to express herself and be involved in something that she loves is really good here. That
Can't do that thick play.
no, into that pick up a phase.
Which that's a really good segue into your wife's heart. And I know she has a lot of musical ability. We've heard her sing the national anthem. Talk about when y'all met and
How in the world is you married?
I don't know. Outkick my coverage. Yeah, when we first got married, I was the head coach at Red Bay, and so we were playing really all over the place because 2A was spread out that night. And then on Saturday nights, she would be playing somewhere in some honky tonk. So we grew up, our first, I guess, 3 years of marriage, 2 years of marriage, Friday and Saturday night during the fall was wide open. Then obviously when you have kids, things slow down, but she still plays private events. She still plays weddings and things like that. And I do think they've got a gig coming up in December at the Brig. Okay. So it's something that she's still involved in, and obviously teaching music. She still gets to fulfill that role at Walter Jackson at Eastwood every day.
Now, what will be your role in supporting her in that gig?
I'm the roadie. I carry the music stand and the tambourine. That's the only ability I have.
You play the tambourine?
No. I carry the tambourine. Ain't no playing, no singing, no instruments. No.
Well, maybe Lauren can let John or Otis in the elevator step into that gig. You gonna be there to support her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, how did y'all meet?
So, her best friend from Muscle Shoals had a daughter that was in my second grade civics class.
Her best friend had a daughter.
Yep. Okay. Gracie Crowley, 7th grade girl, every day for about 4 or 5 months. You need to meet Miss Stroud. You need to meet Miss Stroud. I'm thinking, well, as a 7th grade kid, know better. I need to meet. And kind of the same thing. She's telling Lauren, you need to meet Coach Ritter. You'll love him. And,
What did y'all put together by
7th grade girl. And her. And
How old is she now?
She's 20. That'd been 2011. So was it 14? So she's about 24.
So first date?
First date was on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve?
Yep.
You had a date on Christmas Eve?
Yep. So oddly enough, my grandfather was in the hospital, and so we wasn't doing Christmas Eve at the Ritter house because of that. Just didn't want to get the family together with him being in the hospital, and so I just happened to be at home in my apartment in Muscle Shoals, and she's sitting there texting something about, hey, I know it's last minute, it's Christmas Eve, but it gets better. Me and my mom are going to Outback to eat. You want to go?
Oh, no. You took her with your mom?
I went with her mom. Her and her mom.
Oh, it's her mom.
Her mom. And so
on the first date?
Yeah.
Was she grilling you, the mom?
No, you want Sue's awesome. I mean,
Who paid for it?
I'll pay. And then,
He was a young professional then. He had money.
Yeah.
Single.
I was single, had a good job, lived in an apartment by myself, had all kind of money. Yeah,
So when they said it's gonna be separate tickets, you go, no.
Yeah, I think I paid. I don't know. I know I paid.
But just
at least.
He may stand to be corrected when he gets home.
Nah, but and then we kind of dated and then I moved 4 weeks later to Mortimer, Jordan. I'd taken a job in Birmingham because I was about to start making my way south. And so we long distance dated for about 8 months, and then I got the head coaching job at Red Bay. We ended up getting engaged and married shortly after.
Cool.
Bad.
I don't believe I've ever met anybody that had their first date on Christmas Eve.
With her mother.
With her mom.
Good story.
Yeah, that's very unique. All right, well, let's do something unique. Big noise.
Let's go.
You know what day it is.
It's a great day to be a Red Raider.
Red Raider. So you can listen to the Red Raider preview show with Coach John Ritter, and we're going to go to Hartselle in a couple of days and wear them out. See you.